So I am now going to briefly go into some of the macros that I mentioned in the previous things. So I have made a third-party letter here for patients, and this is a selection macro. So using these square brackets, you can fill in whatever you want, and using a comma, you can alter the choices. So if when this is in an actual patient, if I click one of these, whichever one I click, it will choose. You can fill whatever you like within the brackets. I'm just going to show you a demo of how that would work. So selection macro, and just double click on it, and it fills in what I'd want. Pretty simple. You can make those in any of the text boxes. You can fill them in the notes, progress indicators, reason, wherever you choose. Anywhere there's a text box, you can use if you create the template, you can use the selection macro. They are one at a time. So you would click through good afternoon. If there's another one, you click through the next one. That's selection macros. I am going to now jump to user macros. They are in your profile under macros. These are pretty simple to write. Some of them have selection macros, or they have system macros added. You can do whatever you like in here. You just create a new one by filling in whatever you wish to type. I wouldn't recommend using common phrases in case you want to write a letter, and that phrase is something you type. If you do, then obviously add a special key first, and then you can fill it in as you want. And so if I was in an appointment, and then I would double click on it, and it fills out the macro. So that's user macros. System macros you're only accessible if you have site administration settings. So they're in the site settings, and site macros. Again, like I said, you can have all sorts of macros written in here. Selection macros, system macros, whatever you choose. Okay. Any questions, or are we?
Nothing in the Q&A box just
Okay.
yet.
Good. Okay. So I'm going to go back to templates and observations, and I'm going to start a new form, let's say. And I'm going to add a box. This is the easy way there is a big list within MedAccess of all the system macros. I tend to look it up here because it gives you a list of what all the macro expressions are. It's a huge list. And you just start typing in here whatever you want, and it'll give you all the macros related that have the word phone in, or whatever you're looking for. So those are the system macros. Like I say, in the help settings within MedAccess, there's a big list. It's about 5 pages of a Word document with all the different system macros. Okay, and I'm going to go back. So if you have system macros, I've made this macro here, which has selection and system macros in. So system macros are here, and these are selection macros. I put this is a little cheat that I use. If you put in brackets the percentage mark on selecting this selection macro, it will activate all of the system macros all at once. So it just saves you some double clicks. It won't select those that don't have a percentage mark one. I'll just demo that in a patient. So I'm going to double click on afternoon, and now it's pulled in all the medications and the name, etc. But it's left this one open for me to select. So I can select that. So it's a few less clicks. Those are. I'm now going to slowly move on to dynamic observation macros. That I'm going to use back to the same patient. Okay, so we're in sandbox here, so we don't have a lot of live data. But system dynamic observation macros, if you have a Mac, it's Control, Command, and the down key. If you have a Windows machine, it's Control and down. This sort of links up all the macros that we have. So if you're in a letter and I want to put urea or A1C or whatever result, I would press the keystrokes. I'm on a Mac, so Command, Control, and down, and it gives me a list of all of the macros in the system. But I know I've got a urea result, and I know the observation is called urea. So if I search for urea, or I thought I had a urea result, sorry. Oh, okay. I don't have a result. But if you were to put A1C or whatever you have live results in your EMR, it would pull the result. It would give the result with the result, the reference range, and the timestamp of when the result came in. Like it says, you can pick all of your site macros, user macros from here as well, along with all the system macros. And that's sort of the end of the demo. Is there any questions?
So there was one I quickly saw in the chat. It was just a, can you go over creating a new macro? Would you be able to
Okay,
quickly show that process really quickly?
sure. Like a selection macro?
Uh, I think so. Yeah, I think that's probably when the question came in.
Okay. So just go new letter and you basically put square brackets and your options. Close the brackets, comma, square brackets. And you could write the list as long as you like. And, and then you close it off with square brackets. And that's all it is. Then you'll be able to choose whatever these text boxes say. Anything else?
Don't see anything at the moment, but yeah, if anybody has any questions, please pop them into the Q&A box. Again, in the control panel, if you hovered at the bottom of your screen, it'll pop up. It might be one of the options in your list, but if you don't immediately see Q&A in there, the last option in the list should be more. It's the little ellipsis with the circle around it. If you click on that, it should give you some additional options that don't fit within the little toolbar. And in there is the Q&A box, so you'll be able to see any questions that anybody else has posed, but you can also pose your own questions there. Just give it a moment to see if anything kind of populates in there, and if not, we can hand it over to Will. Just taking a look at the chat here to see if there's anything that populated in here. Okay, so there's one that did pop up in here in the chat instead of the Q&A box. How do you insert the encounter notes to the consult request? Do you need more context? You're on mute, Greg.
I don't think that would be possible to copy a whole encounter into. You'd have to copy and paste. It wouldn't be. And the way to do that would be in the encounter note, and then you'd click on the consult button. Because normally it shuts things down. I'll just show you. So you're in here, you filled it in. You'd select your consult from here, and this opens then as a separate window. And you'll be able to copy between one and the other. With that, this is one of the few ways you can have two windows open at the same time from a visit. If you were the other way around, it doesn't work. It's only this in this situation where you select this button. If you were to select consults from up here, it would close the visit now. So you have to do it from within a visit to open both at the same time.
Thanks so much, Craig. Looks like we got one more here. The question is, they're wondering how to, so what is it here? They're wondering if it's possible to create templates from a requisition that someone's already working in. That makes sense. I'm not too familiar with.
No, I'm not sure what the request is.
I might be able to describe better in person if that's
Sure.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I was just
please,
asking
thank
you.
you.
To come off mute.
Yeah, so there was a time a few months back, I was working with one of the gals and she had showed me a trick. So a provider was creating, say, an ultrasound requisition. And rather than having to click all of the different little boxes, you know, like requisition, ultrasound, description, all of that stuff, if he had created one, he would be able to right click somewhere and create it as a template. And then going forward, rather than having to refill out all those boxes.
Yeah. So if you fill out a requisition, there is the option to make it out a template at a later date. Like this kind of thing.
Yeah, so it would have the category, the type, and the description all in there. So because oftentimes we're finding that they're found blank in the investigations tab. And so I thought if he would use a template, it'd make life easier.
Oh, well, he uses the same thing over and over for the investigation, or?
Well, he would, like, each patient would have the different stuff filled out in their individual boxes.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a template that includes the category, the MRI, for example, a description, and it just has all the basic stuff in there. And then I thought there was a way for him to, in a different patient, to be able to right click for his requisition templates or his investigation templates, and it would auto populate all those boxes.
If he were to make a form, we could do it that way, and there is a way of save it and copying it as well.
Okay, so it's just through making them that way. Okay.
Yeah, you can save and copy them and create it, but yeah, and you can save as a template.
Yeah.
But but if he's filling in these free text boxes, you may not want to do that because it might be specific to a certain patient. So you may want to just pick the bits that you want as a save as a template. and then get him to free type in afterwards. But once
Oh,
you have
okay.
free type boxes, it kind of it's not pulling data. It's whatever he's decided to type there and then. Do you see
Sounds
what I
good.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I do for sure.
Yeah, because you don't want to say he's a 60-year-old female or whatever, and then it's in every ultrasound requisition because he's written in one.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, we wouldn't do that. I can just
Yeah.
create a bunch of him with the categories filled in, then he can
Yeah.
type what he needs per
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll work.
Okay.
Thank you.
So there was a related thing in the Q&A box. I think kind of trying to help address this one. I don't know if it helps. So the person wrote that they think that they mean for the task to auto-populate the category, type, and description, but not the form necessarily itself. Does that help?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get out of my mouth. Yep.
So yeah, you could create a template for that. Like if it's just ultrasounds, you create a template for ultrasounds or X-rays and that kind of thing, and then you select the one that you wanted. And it can pull in data if you create the form properly. Like say an MRI result, you could pull in the EGFR, and then the patient's last EGFR would be pulled into the form.
Oh. How do you do that piece?
You go to build a template, and let me just see if we've got something with an MRI. These, I think, have them already in. Where are we looking? So this text box would, sorry, I'm going sort of straight into how the sausage is made kind of thing. Whichever text box it is, you'd select EGFR as the type. There it is. So these are them. So these would pull in the last EGFR value.
Okay.
And
So it's in that space. Okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
so it's sort of complex form building, but it would pull it in. It would pull the data, the last result as well.
Oh, okay. Not as familiar in there, but I'm getting there. Well,
Yeah,
we're hoping to.
yeah, it can be very useful, like A1Cs and things like that. If you're sending them to diabetes clinics, making sure
Right.
that that's filled in on the form with the appropriate link. If you're struggling, I'm happy to meet with you and go through that with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, once I get more clarity on exactly how they like things, perhaps I'll reach out. But right now
Yeah.
it's kind of been presented to me in a broad way. So
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, so there's one more question in here, and it's going back to your earlier example when you were trying to pull up the urea
Yeah.
one. So the question is for the dynamic macro example, they were wondering how would you go about creating that, or is that sort of
It's already there if there's an observation created. Unfortunately, we have a sandbox which has very little observations created because we don't have Accelerus pumping data into us. I tried to make one, but it's a sandbox, so somebody may have deleted what I made. And so if you had like a normal lab rec and it said A1C, that's all you'd need to type is A1C, and it would show you, A1C OBX, which means it was observation. You'd click on it and it'd pull that A1C result in. If you had an iron saturation, you type in iron saturation, and if that observation was linked, if you created your own observation, like you made a special observation in a form for some sort of clinic you're offering, that you could also pull in as well. So it's based on observations in the patient chart.
So just to kind of reiterate, basically any sort of like lab result would those are basically searchable within
Yeah.
MedAccess. You bring them up by hitting the keyboard control,
Yeah.
and then it brings up that drop down box where you can then search or
Type whatever you like in there,
scroll through,
whatever
and
you
then
think,
it'll
any
find it.
observation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were the keyboard strokes again?
For a Mac, it's Control Command down. For a PC, it's just Control and down.
Perfect.
And for Macs to double click if you don't have a mouse for some reason.
Excuse me,
Sure.
Craig,
Hi.
when you're
Hi.
talking about, can you give demo same time and so we can watch it?
Sure. But you obviously you can't see the keystrokes, but I can. I would show the dynamic, but we don't have any data, unfortunately. And you can just select something from here, like somebody. These are all the. There it is. There actually urea. So I hit that, and then it pulls the urea result for me, and the
So
date that it was put in.
if you are following somebody's urea for over last few years and
Yeah,
punch in urea, it will give you all the
it'll give you the
urea.
most recent.
Okay, most recent, only one.
Yeah, for these dynamic macros, yeah, it just takes the most recent. It depending, yeah, it takes the most recent result for the dynamic observations. So if
Okay.
it's an A1C, we don't have A1C, we don't have data. So it's
Wouldn't be as easy to go on to lab and look at the urea and click
it would
there.
be, yes, but if you were typing a letter, let's say to a consultant, and you knew that the patient had a high urea, let's say,
Okay.
you could say, Moana has had a consistently high urea. Her last result was, and then you press Control Command write urea, it would pull the result in for you.
Okay.
And you said,
Okay.
and she has a normal A1C. So
Okay.
then you go into the Control Command down for A1C, and it would pull the results and the dates of the results in for you.
Well, normally they would like to see all the attachments like
Yeah, sure.
So
This is more like
they don't want to look at just one item. They want to look what else was done.
the history. Yeah. These are just sort of shortcuts if you needed to add it to a letter, something unusual.
Right.
I'd like you highlight that this is a problem, or
Yeah.
normally you attach all the labs and
Yeah.
yeah,
How do you attach it, by the way, in the consult? Can you show me?
attach. Sorry.
Attach the lab reports.
So you do if you were to attach a lab result, sort of, I'll quickly go over it. But you go to visits, and how do we? Sorry, I'm just trying to get my head around this. You want to add?
So Craig, in
Yeah.
the interest of time, just because we do have,
Yeah, this is a long
well,
topic. I
maybe
can
we can
meet with
circle
you,
back to
Doctor.
this at the end.
Yeah.
If we have a few minutes. Yeah, and that way you can kind of prepare in the
Yeah.
background if you need to.
Okay.
Awesome. I guess there's just quickly one little follow-up from the original question about the dynamic macros. If they use the drop-down list and didn't see the option in there, is anything that they should be doing, or?
If it's not there, it's probably not there, if you know what I mean. Like we don't have, if it's like an A1C would be there more likely than there in most patients. If it's not there, then there isn't an observation for that. It's looking for the most recent observation based on that, or it's patient macro or site macro or user macros is what it pulls up.
So in terms of the observations, it's really that particular, it doesn't have the data, so that's why it's not populating.
Yeah.
Okay.